Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about Voruna Prime. She is finally here and she is just a complete menace to society, and I have loved every minute of leveling her and getting these builds on her. I've landed on a build that I think I'm going to pretty much just mostly use, but through my testing, I did find a couple of fun builds, and I also had some decent fun with a persistence setup that I'm going to go over as well, in case if you're not a fan of the whole like shield gating shtick that she primarily does. Also, I will be just kind of very briefly going over her abilities and then a new player mod setup. Since her Prime Access is live, new players can just go ahead and buy that and then have instant access to her. So want to give them at least some kind of direction as they go through the game if they're, clicking on a video and wondering, what on earth do I do with this? So yeah, let's just kind of get into this. For starters, for the Archon charts here, before we get into the build and the abilities, I'm rocking 3 Violet Equilibrium shards. This has just been good for maintaining the energy and having an equilibrium effect and everything. I've got 1 casting speed and then 1 energy on spawn. One of these Violet shards can probably be removed. I just like having the extra shard just for extra like comfort and like energy security and whatnot. But if you wanted to take that out and throw in like another casting speed or power strength or duration or whatever, you're more than welcome to. But this is what has worked the best for me so far. Alright, so let's start with her abilities and her passive. So her passive is going to change depending on what ability you basically hold down when you're playing. So you can hold down each of her 4 abilities and gain a unique passive. So for Shroud of Dinar, this essentially makes you invisible, and then when that invisibility ends, you also get a bunch of melee buffs. And then if you hold the ability, you get increased parkour velocity. So when you go and you like bullet jump and you're dodging all over the place, that's going to be a lot faster if you turn that on. Fangs of Raksh is going to just, you leap forward on an enemy and you give them just 5 random statuses, and they're applied at 10 stacks, so they just instantly cap out, which is nice. This one's passive is really, really good. This is going to be the one that you primarily probably use, because this one basically just makes you status immune, which is so good. Lyca's Hunt is essentially like a turn it on and then you don't really worry about it for the rest of the mission. So what this does is this will generate health and energy orbs on enemies that are killed, so long as they've got 5 or more statuses on them. So that's where Fangs of Raksh comes in. And then also when you do that, the ability will also kind of like refresh itself or give itself more time. So long as you're constantly using Fangs of Raksh, which, spoilers, that's what you're going to want to do. Like his Hunt, you're only going to really have to cast it one time and then not really worry about it after that. The passive with this one is just that you gain heavy attack efficiency, which in certain instances or melee builds, depending if you want to go that way, can be pretty nice. And her 4 is what you subsume off. So going over the build, I just went for something just like kind of like equal down the line, just like a nice little starter here, just to get everything going. I've got more mods here than I normally do, just because, again, when you buy the Prime Access, they come like with the max capacity and everything, so they're going to have a little bit more wiggle room than like a normal player would. But yeah, just having just like good baseline stats, just having like a kind of an all-arounder build just to get a feel for her and just kind of have fun and whatnot. This is gonna be able to get you through more than what you're going to deal with in just the base star chart. So try this build out, have fun, enjoy Voruna. She's awesome. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the build. So this is the Nuke build that I have settled on, and let's go over the mods that I have. So I got Brief Respite in the Aura, Cutting Drift in the Exilus, Catalyzing Shields, Blind Rage, and Precision Intensify for power strength. Precision Intensify is only really going to, well, only really, it only affects our roar, and that's what I subsumed off for the 4, and then this will boost the damage of, well, basically everything in our kit. Roar is very, very good and kind of basically needed to do the nuke setup to get like the numbers that you want to get. There really isn't a big substitute for roar in the nuke build. Overextended and Archon Stretch for range, Prime Flow for a lot of energy, Archon Continuity for a bunch of duration, and the last mod here is Prey of Dynar. So this is the augment to her Shroud of Dynar that I mentioned, and then this pairs with the Fangs of Raksh. So what these will do essentially is there's going to be an enemy that gets highlighted. It's based off your energy color, so mine's going to be blue. And you want to, if you see them, you want to basically single them out and just go you and just plunge at them. Just lunge at them with Fangs of Raksh. Then they get all the statuses that's applied to them. Then you want to heavy attack them with the Harmony, which I'm going to show off here in a little bit. Then they die, they explode, and then everything around them dies and explodes. And then you pretty much just lather, rinse, repeat with everything. So when you start the mission, if you've got my Archon chart set up, what you're going to probably do is Lycus Hunt, then Shroud of Dynar, then we Roar, then you Fangs of Raksh, and then you heavy attack, and then you just start repeating and going back from Shroud of Dynar and then Fangs of Raksh. Because when you heavy attack, this breaks your invisibility for Shroud of Dynar. So it's 1, 2, heavy attack, and then you're visible. Then you want to cast your 1 again. So it's 1, 2, heavy attack, 1, 2, heavy attack. And then whenever Roar is off of cooldown, you want to use Roar. But that is essentially the play pattern that you're going to want to use in order to use Voruna essentially in this way. I went for Brief Respite and then Catalyzing Shields because I personally value defensive options and survivability on Voruna. I've seen a lot of builds where people just don't care about it, and I mean, if you can play Voruna like that, more power to you. I cannot. I need some type of like safety net. I need some type of get out of jail card. I need something here, and then that's what these two mods are for. If you do not need that, by all means, you are more than welcome to change these out as you want and or need. The other build that I want to showcase that I had a lot of fun with was the persistence build. So this is using triple umbrals. Now you can tell that like this is not a max build by any stretch. You would only need to throw in like 2 umbral formas in order to get this like up and going per se. But this did work, and even with all the health that I get from like Arcane Blessing and whatnot from this, all of the health orbs that I get from the Lycus Hunt, from still like casting Fangs of Raksh and everything, that was still enough to basically keep me topped off and to heal me if my health got low. So yeah, that did work a little bit better than what I thought. We do just kind of barely meet the armor requirement here. You don't need any more armor than that because you're always going to basically want the passive from the 2 on that makes you status immune. So you're never going to go below 700 armor. Like nothing's going to turn off persistence. You can't be affected by fire or corrosive procs, and you're not affected by magnetic procs either. So you don't have to worry about any of those things. Where I've this build set up right now is focused on the nuke build that I was doing, and like this build does work if you wanted to do this, but where I had a lot of success with the kind of persistent setup was with using the Wrathful Advance and just kind of meleeing around and just kind of like not caring. I did try this with like a shield tanking setup, and this did work too, but with the like persistence that I had set up, I know that this is on War, but I was testing other things later. But when I was doing this on persistence, it felt a lot more, what's the word I want to use? Like carefree. Like I wasn't really too concerned with like making sure that like I was like rolling so I was invincible if my shield breaks and things like that. I was just, you know, just meleeing, dashing around. I was still invisible, and it was still pretty fun. Um, Not the build that I quite settled on. This is the Nuke build that I have settled on that has worked really, really well for me personally. But if you do not want to do the whole like shield gate shtick, which I get it, I would encourage you to go ahead and give the persistence build a try. If you are concerned about like healing or anything, Lyca's Hunt, for what I tested and what I did give me enough just health orbs and whatnot to just heal myself whenever I would take damage. So that's my experience with that. And yeah, that's pretty much the build for the most part. If you do end up going for the persistence build though, I would encourage you to probably take these two out and then throw in like a max energy shard or shards here. That way you're not just on like 180 energy, because that is not a whole lot of fun. I do want to switch back to this. Show off my Taxon, because I've been using this with my shield gating and shield tanking builds, and this Taxon has been putting in overtime for me with the molecular conversion here, which has been very, very nice. It's giving me a bunch of extra like overshields and everything. So yeah, if you do end up running the shield tanking or the shield gating variants of Voruna, I would encourage you to use Taxon. He has been awesome. And then here's the weapon that I've been using to go ahead and spread some statuses around. And yeah, just been good overall. And now I want to show off Harmony. This weapon has been just stellar. This Harmony has been doing numbers with the nuke setup that I showed earlier with like the shield gating and everything. I was able to heavy attack with this thing and get 2 billion damage. I have not been able to replicate that, but I got 2 billion damage. But yeah, just a heavy attack setup with Harmony, and then why we do this is because of what the Harmony basically does. When you heavy attack with it, it causes a slash proc, because that's just how scythes work. And then Harmony will go ahead and then like detonate all of the status effects that's on them. And then with melee afflictions over here, when they're knocked down, which when you heavy attack them, they're going to be knocked down, they apply 6 additional stacks. So yeah, they get a bunch of statuses, you slash them, and then they kind of blow up. The nuke setup and everything is a lot of blowing up and a lot of just spreading that as far as you can. And this build has done that for me and then some. Thinking about it now, I don't think you need the 10 Okai. I think I just kind of would a little investment happy with my Harmony. But yeah, this is the build that I've been using, and this has served me more than well. And hopefully it'll serve you well too. And yeah, I think that is about it. I guess one little quick note here. I'm on Zenerek. I have not had any issues with that with my shield gating itself. You may want to change Zenerek out for something like Madurai or Naramon, depending on like what your build is itself. Just keep in mind that like Zenerek does have like an energy tree in it, where sometimes an ability just won't cost energy, and for you to properly shield gate, you need your abilities to cost energy. Again, I have not had that cause any real issues with me, just giving a little PSA. So, alright, we are going to do a little survival and just kind of show off how all of this works. And be a menace to society, which is always a fun thing. Alright, here we go, and then we hold the 2. Let's get this started. Alright. So, 3, 1, roar. There's our target. I think I missed him, but whatever. I don't think it really matters. Whoop. Use my 1. Aha, there's my target. And then he's gone for a natural 2 million. And see, everything spreads. And then when you heavy attack, it breaks the invisibility. So then you have to cast your 1 again. So 2, heavy attack, visible, 1. Then we, aha. Then we 2, heavy attack, 1. 38 million. Not bad, not bad. Oop, hold on. I see something here. Right, hide from me. And 1. It's just a constant spam of 1 and 2, and then occasionally you're going to use your 4. I think he died just from me attacking him. Yeah, Harmony does crazy work. That's a 5 million or 50 million. I think I missed that. Yeah, sometimes the damage that you just do with raw statuses because of roar is just a truckload, to say the least. Oh my goodness, I think the scientific term is actually a fuck ton. But what do I know? I'm not a scientist. And then if you do want to like do the persistence build, you're still gonna be pretty much doing like the same kind of shtick of just like casting the 1, casting the 2. Like it's the same thing. It's just how you live and survive is like a little different. That's pretty much about it. I think which is what made me ultimately just land on like the shield gating like variant of this, just because it just does more damage, and for me personally it's a little bit more versatile. But I do get like not wanting to shield. I just did that on accident. I have a rolling guard. Like, believe me, I more than understand, you know, not wanting to shield gate all the time. But it does, the persistence does work, and it works pretty well, which honestly surprised me a little bit. Here they go. And they're all gone. They're gone. This. This. Yep, you're gonna be using your 1 and your 2 a lot. And yep, we're about done here. I wonder if we're going to get an acolyte, because spoilers, I can just kind of, well, nuke them too, so yeah. Oh, well, he died. They're all dying. Whoop! Well, that's nice to spread. You're just gonna die. Yep, you died and you spread everything. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. Jesus, I just get to look at people and then they die like that. They're dying. When I said menace to society, I kind of did literally mean menace to society. I would love to try and replicate that 2 billion damage I did, but man, I cannot do that. I hit like 500 million at one point in time too, and I can't duplicate that either. 1, 2, heavy attack, gone. Stop that. I said stop that.
Our operative is making progress. This will help our cause. When you need it, extraction is ready.
Alright, well, that is the run. So, I'm gonna switch to the parkour velocity and just get the hiffle out of here. Alright, well, I hope you liked the video. I hope you learned something. I hope you give one of the builds a shot at least. If anything, build the Harmony, because good lord, this weapon is absurd. But yeah, thanks for sticking to the end. Thanks for clicking and watching the video. And take care. Later.
You strike to win.